Hello, this is Julia Bushkova, and today's topic is the left hand frame. First, I want to say that there are some very good videos on YouTube about the left hand frame, and I watched some of them. They're long usually, but worth seeing. However, I'm doing mine in order to make a shorter presentation, maybe two of them on the same longer topic. So hand frame, left hand frame, part one. What is the frame? The frame is, for our purposes, an arrangement of moving parts in such a way that they provide stability and support. Our moving parts of the left hand are the hand, wrist, forearm, and what we call an elbow. Okay? So in order for our fingers to work the best, because it's actually fingers that play on the fingerboard, correct? Not the hand or the wrist or whatever. So in order for them to perform their best, we have to provide them with this support and organization, which ultimately provides comfort. And they do need to be comfortable as possible in our uncomfortable situation playing violin. So there are several ways to arrange your left hand in the best possible frame. And I will just demonstrate to you the proper frame. And this is the proper frame. So the proper frame on outside, when you look at it, will be characterized by three straight lines. First of all, that's the most visible thing. Straight line here on the outer part. Straight line on the pinky side of the hand and forearm. Okay, not this way, but that way. And the third straight line is actually kind of tricky sometimes to catch or see because it is right here. So it's the side of your index finger that is touching the fingerboard or the neck. So that is also needs to be as straight as possible. And the common mistake here would be to do this. When the first finger presses, it presses in such a vector of it, it's not correct, and you have a broken line. If you press it a lot this way, you also will see this side line broken, but sometimes it's possible to actually have it straight here and still broken on that side, which causes clenching, which we don't need either. So the three straight lines are the first and foremost sign for good frame. Other things are not that obvious. However, very important that you place your hand, and that goes for beginners and for advanced players. Please do not start placing with the first finger and the thumb. Always go for the center of your hand in your mind and in your sensation. Go for the 2 and 3 on the fingerboard. Then place your fourth, because we need to accommodate our fourth finger. It's the shortest and the weakest. So we need to make sure that can work correctly, because we really do need it in all of our playing and all the passage work. It's always there. And then we place our first finger there. I really recommend this succession of events rather than starting with the first and then going forward and ending up with this fourth. I hope not. This is the worst possible fourth finger shape you can imagine. It's very bad for dexterity. It's very bad for the workings of this finger. It will create tension and it will hurt at some point. Of course, in order to accommodate your fourth finger, when you do put your fourth finger down, of course, the part of your hand turns slightly, very slightly, just as much as necessary for the finger to be maintaining its shape. Okay? Again, the frame, the comfort, is necessary not only to play well, which of course is our first goal, right? But also to not get hurt, especially if you're a professional player or a pre-professional player going full blast into playing violin many hours a day. Okay, and other important aspects of the frame. You want to accommodate all four fingers to function their best, to go on the string in exactly the same way all the time. So the fingers should not be wobbly in their joints, right? We all know that. How exactly they will be placed on the string, I will do in my next video. But right now, another very important part, the string on which you're in. So if I'm on, let's say, A string, a comfortable string, this straight line and this alignment of those lines will necessitate my elbow to be in a certain place. Then if I go on E string, the elbow has to go away or out, as I call it, out of my center. So this is my center. This will be more in my terminology. This will be more out. My elbow needs to go out to preserve these straight lines. On A, it will come a little bit in. On D, it will come a little bit more in. And on G, in order to accommodate my fourth finger, it will come more in. There will be some variances of the elbow movements for different various players, depending on the hand size and hand shape and finger also length. I will address them in my next video on the same subject, on a hand frame. All right, so positions of the elbow to accommodate your fingers. There are several finger motions that we have on violin. One of them, the most commonly used, is the vertical motion when we play things like that. So these are all vertical motions. As we all know, we have to function from the bass joints only, right, correctly, and that provides the best articulation as well. Then there is a motion that is called, I would call it horizontal, along with many other people, I would call it horizontal movement, and that is when we slide. For instance, in chromatic scale. Now, as you can see, my hand here doesn't move. It should not move. That's exactly what the frame is for. We don't want to create, or my fourth finger, for instance, playing just any kind of fourth finger. You don't see me doing, which you do see in some beginner players or some players who just don't have a good frame. It's an additional movement. It creates problems, especially in fast tempo. In fact, it will preclude the fast tempo altogether. Again, there will be some exceptions to that. I will address them in the next video. But by and large, no, you don't need any movement. So vertical, sliding, or horizontal. And then there is one more movement that we don't use too often, and that's the movement across the string. And again, if I have to go across the string, usually we don't go all four strings, but usually neighboring strings, this motion, second finger or third finger. Again, my frame is stationary. It's not the one that when we use the elbow, a lot of times we use this in sixths, for instance. So that would be, again, the movement when you don't see me accommodating the strings with the elbow. So to recap and maybe reframe our video about the frame, I want to remind you, as I imagine most people who watch this video are already playing violin, they're good players or want to be better players. Your thumb, of course, will be placed in your natural position, just like this. So when you approach the violin, you will place it here. You will be touching with the neck with the side of the index finger. Where exactly I will address in my next video. And you will always have the space right here on this other, because on the other side of the index finger and the thumb, there will be always this space, which naturally is there in any comfortable good frame. Now there is a trick, a helpful trick, I think, of how to get into this frame in a much easier way. And that is just to take violin like I have it right now. And so if you place your hand here and very lightly touch your fingers, don't even press. Do you see? You try it. It's so easy to put the fingers in the correct placements. You can put it on E, or you can put it on E flat if it's best. But it's very easy to keep your hand straight, the wrist straight, so it doesn't poke out or doesn't go in. just in a natural position, in a neutral position, straight position. The first finger feels a little bit back, but this position is really easy to achieve. So, and then after that, all you do is you transfer it to your chin and on the shoulder. Now you will feel the difference here, perhaps, because your hand, of course, is turned. Again, you can get into this position much easier when the violin is in this shape. So again, your hand is just in much more natural condition that way than with the kind of turned as we usually play. All right. I hope this has been helpful. All the best. Do subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Put a like, and I will see you all in the next video.